Hey guys, today we're going to talk about 10 fun bookkeeper projects that you can do in 10 minutes or less. And this video idea was inspired by the fact that I created myself in my personal life like a little list of quick 10-minute projects I can do if I'm feeling kind of down, not feeling motivated, but they're things I can do to feel a little bit productive. Like maybe it's like organize my Spotify playlist. Like that's not actually productive, but it is moving my life in the right direction of feeling, productive and organized. Maybe it is load the dishwasher. That's something that takes a really short amount of time, but it can make a pretty big impact in your day. So I have 12 of these little fun projects listed, and I tried to make them fun. I mean, sometimes being a bookkeeper isn't like the most exciting job in the world, but we're gonna make it fun and we're gonna do it. Number one is customize your QuickBooks Online dashboard. That's actually this thing that is behind me right here. I don't know if it's blurry or not, but it is a bunch of little graphs and tables and things that show how your client is doing financially. And there are all these little widgets, and some of them are going to apply to your client and some of them won't. And so it's actually fun to go in there and just fool with the settings. Is that only fun for me? Leave me a comment if that type of thing is fun for you. If you mess with the settings to get it just as you like it, maybe declutter it so all the things that you don't use are just out of your view. Maybe there's just 3 graphs in there that are the most helpful for your client, that when all of you open QuickBooks Online, it just shows the most pertinent information. Number 2, I called snack and sort. So this is when you motivate yourself with a nice little snack. So I'll grab a handful of pretzels or a few chocolate chips, and I'll sort transactions. And this is something that takes us probably a chunk of time as a bookkeeper, is categorizing transactions within the bank feeds in QuickBooks Online. And so a lot of times I am oh, I don't have time to do that whole month or that whole client. And so I just don't do it. But I'm challenging you to just set a 10-minute timer and categorize as many as you can in 10 minutes. You'll probably get a lot more done than you expect. Or you can also think of it as just categorize a week. So there's nowhere it says we have to do everything by month. That's kind of my routine as a bookkeeper, but you can definitely do it in smaller or larger chunks if you prefer. Number 3 is make a reminder jingle. There's a reason why all those advertising jingles stick in your head. There's a reason why they put them to music. So I actually just made a jingle up for myself that will remind me to do payroll. So here it is. It's a little embarrassing to share, but it is on the 20th. Don't delay. Do your payroll right away. And honestly, these little rhymes and things really do help me. I have a few that I say to my kids, and so that is a really good memory trick. And just a bookkeeper note about the 20th. For my client that I do payroll, they like to categorize the income by person to see who is earning what money. And then the employees get some commission based on, their billable hours. So even though we don't actually run payroll and pay people till the very end of the month, I can do that commission sorting by the 20th. So I have communicated that any commission you make by the 20th is going to go on your paycheck. If it comes through on the 21st or 22nd, etc., then it will go on your next month's paycheck. So that's just a quick tip. If you're feeling everything kind of falls all at once, you might be able to spread it out by making different policies for different parts of your job. Within this reminders one is also just take a look at your calendar, see what's upcoming. Maybe mark your calendar for certain deadlines coming up. If there's a tax deadline or you have a meeting with clients, just doesn't it feel so good when you feel on top of your calendar and not everything's just washing over you, but you're actually oh yes, tomorrow I have that meeting at 3 o'clock. I'm prepared for that. And before I get to the other 9 of these, give me a thumbs up if you're engaged with this video. That helps me out a lot. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. I'd love to have you. And I have a ton of free bookkeeper resources. You can check out my masterclass on how I got my first 3 bookkeeping clients. And there's a bunch of other free and some paid resources linked down in my description box. Number 4 is a bank statement dance-off. So this just means we're gonna reconcile a bank account in 10 minutes. So pick a couple pump me up songs. I think usually 3 songs is 10 minutes, right? So pick 3 songs. So decide that you're gonna reconcile for those 3, and then you are free to stop if you don't wanna work anymore. Number 5 is bust writer's block with some AI help. So I've been getting more and more into ChatGPT. I know everyone has, but I think it took me just a second to get on the bandwagon. But I watched a video by Shelby Church, and she said a couple just tips, and I was oh, that's actually really helpful. And then we started using it for some of my kids' first study guides. If they had a big long packet with a lot of information, ChatGPT will just pull out certain information. If you can upload that file and then pull out vocab or something. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video about some of these tips and tricks I am actually using now. Another one that I keep hearing and that I know about is use it for marketing. So for your bookkeeping business, maybe you're working on your website and you're having trouble writing your About Me page. So tell ChatGPT about yourself, tell it the tone you want to write it in, and then it can write a pretty good start for an About Me section. Same with if you want to do like a LinkedIn or a Facebook post for marketing. It can write you like 10 different ones, and then you can, pick your favorite and maybe tweak it a little bit. And I do have a video already out about how I used it to create letters and emails for clients. And I find that I don't always love every single thing it produces, but usually it's good to get a start. So maybe if you just can't think of where to start, you're having that writer's block, just use that 10 minutes to brainstorm with ChatGPT. Number 6, I called a duplicate detective. That was hard to say. So a small part of your job as a bookkeeper is kind of like proofreading all the books, right? Like making sure everything's correct in the correct categories. There's no duplicate transactions. So you can spend that 10 minutes, again, set that timer and look for duplicates. Go into your bank feeds and see if anything is feeding in correctly. Pull a profit and loss or a balance sheet and click on one category. Click on utilities. It looks right. Make sure you don't have anything weird in there that's not supposed to be there. If it's a monthly expense, make sure you have one for January, February, March, April, May, and just do a little bit of that detective work so you're not doing it all at the end of the year. Number 7 is template tinkering. So this is within invoices. Like if you're sending out invoices to clients, your clients or your clients' clients, you can do a lot by changing like the fonts and the look of them. You can do that in multiple places in QuickBooks. And sometimes as a bookkeeper, I just don't like take the time to go in and do all that stuff because I'm prioritizing other things. But if I ever sit down and do work on the template and make it really pretty, I personally find a lot of joy in that. Anyway, creating those templates is fun for me, but I can get distracted by it. It's kind of like creating a website. You can tinker with your website forever and then like never feel like it's done. But if you are in an unmotivated state and you just need to have something kind of fun to like get you going, this is supposed to be one of those fun projects, right? These are motivating projects. It's something that we are willing to do even on like a low motivation day. Number 8 is an accounts receivable rally. So try to make a little game out of this. Look at all your overdue invoices for one of your clients and be strategic about how are you going to track down that money. I feel like I made a video about this a long time ago. You can search my channel if you're interested. Maybe I'll do a remake of that because that's actually a really practical application of how you can make a big difference for your clients by tracking down the income that they're not collecting, and that can really help cash flow. So even if you're not the one like calling up the client, like maybe you create a workflow, a process for that. You send them the invoice report every month, or you send it to a certain person in the business that is designated to follow up on those things. Number 9 is reports roundup. So try to just do one thing nice for your future self. I just watched a different YouTube video about this, and she was saying that it really changed her mindset when she thought that she was helping herself out for the future. So you're gonna have to send that report to a client eventually. Why don't you just send like one right now? Why don't you maybe just pull the report and attach, maybe if you can't commit to fully sending the email, maybe you just pull the report and then attach it to an email, and then your future self will send it for you. Another thing to think about that I just actually wrote down today as a future video idea was you can do reports that are sent automatically. So maybe if you know that you are always update your client's books and it's done maybe on the 10th, that is sent to them. And I was just looking again to how to do that, and I can't find it, but I can find that for you guys. Let me know in the comments if that video would interest you, because I know I'm actually automatically getting reports sent to myself right now. I just can't remember how I set that up in the first place. Number 10, I called desktop dash. So maybe that is cleaning off your actual, like your computer desktop. And if you're supposed to just have like those 5 folders that you keep on there all the time, just get it down to those. Don't have your 100 other things that are cluttering up your desktop. And the second part of that is you can clean off your actual desktop, like your real computer surface. Because we all know, we've all heard, we are more productive when we're not surrounded by clutter. That just distracts our brain. And we know that, but of course we don't always have a perfectly clean desk. So if you can be motivated to just do a little bit of decluttering, whether it is digital or physical, that will help you out a lot. Number 11 is a chart of accounts checkup. So I think I've said this before in a different video, but I really like arranging the chart of accounts and making the profit and loss look very organized and just in a way that really makes sense to my brain. I think that's the part of bookkeeping that appeals to me the most, is just having that clean, clear, concise report. So a lot of times you have to actually work within the chart of accounts, maybe to rename some stuff or to make sub accounts or possibly to combine accounts, because if if you haven't been paying attention to that, it can get a little bit messier, a little out of control, or maybe you took it over from a different bookkeeper and they had a different, their brain was working in a different way, or maybe your client wants it a certain way. Anyways, I personally think working with a chart of accounts is very rewarding in a funny way to say that. Let me know if you want a video about that. It would be called like Organize Your Chart of Accounts with Me. It's like a day in the life, but it's a Organize Your Chart of Accounts day, I guess. Number 12 is shortcut setup. So I have made it a little goal of mine to do more keyboard shortcuts within QuickBooks. And I actually have a video about that I'm just filming, so it'll either be out probably next week or maybe it was out last week, depending on when this one goes up. But I think keyboard shortcuts make things really fun. Anytime I'm able to like toggle, like Control Z, Control V, like, do all these things with just the keyboard, I think it's more efficient and faster. And so, but you do have to practice and learn those keyboard shortcuts. So I don't have as many memorized in QuickBooks Online. So that is one of my goals this week. So you could in 10 minutes, you could print out 5 of them and test them out or something. Thank you guys for sticking with me till the end. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I will talk to you again next week.